Hi, welcome to the Adobe booth. My name is Kylee Pena, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager for Pro Editorial. I'm going to show you some new features in Premiere Pro, including media intelligence and search, Generative Extend, Caption Translation, and new color management. Yes, we have a new media intelligence and search panel feature in Premiere Pro. Media intelligence automatically recognizes the visuals in your content as soon as you import, including things like locations, colors, camera angles, and more. All that analysis happens faster than real time on device, and then you can use everyday language to describe exactly what you want to find in the new search panel. And in the search panel, you can also search for text in transcriptions, as well as metadata like location or camera type. So we have the new search panel up here in the upper right corner, and I just can click on that, and I will dock it so you can see it a little bit better here. And I can search for everything, text, metadata, and visuals. So I will just search for something like person on a motorcycle. And you can see here that it automatically finds clips of a person on a motorcycle. And that's not something that you were able to search for before. And it's smart. It's a semantic, deep understanding of the visuals in your scene. So you can type people on a motorcycle, and I'm finding multiple people. And I can even search to see where in a sequence these clips were used, double click, and open that up. And being able to search for everything in one place makes it super easy to find things that you didn't even know you had. I can search for something like cacao and see visuals as well as text results, and then metadata, you can see it's in the file name here. So it helps you just by describing shots, you can find exactly what you need much, much faster. Now in Premiere Pro 25.2, we have Generative Extend, which supports up to 4K and vertical aspect ratios. So Generative Extend allows you to seamlessly add a few more frames when you want to hold on an emotional character reaction, or a few more moments under a transition, or even extend sound effects or room tone. You can extend 2 seconds of video, 10 seconds of audio, and while it was in public beta, it had a limitation of only HD 1080. So we're happy that now in the shipping version, we've increased that to 4K. So it can do things like, for example, in this shot, there is, it's a really cool shot, but then it gets to a point where there's a lens flare in front of her, and then it starts to kind of bounce around as well. It's just not a great shot anymore. I can change the trim point to a different spot, and then just click the Generative Extend tool, and then drag from there. And then it will essentially use the last few frames as a prompt in Adobe Firefly. And then it will generate the extension and download it and reassemble the piece. So I can show you the finished product here. It always has the AI generated label, so you know exactly where AI is on your timeline. And I can play it here. So now the action continues, and there's no lens flare, no bumping around. Another example is rewriting history. You know, you had this issue on set where his goggles fly off. Whoops. So instead of having to work around that, I can just extend, and now I have a shot where his goggles no longer fly off. So it blends in, maintains the physics and the progression of the motion and everything, and blends right into your material. And Generative Extend, since it's powered by Adobe Firefly, it is commercially safe to use. It's trained only on material that we have permission to use, and licensed content, public domain content, things like that. And it's just a really fantastic tool that identifies a very specific editing pain point that everyone has experienced, and gives you another option aside from cutting around it, or using a freeze frame, or using a speed change. Things that you would use to cover those little gaps in your timeline, now you can use Generative Extend and cover those in that way. With Caption Translation in Premiere Pro, you can now generate multilingual captions in 27 languages. And it all happens inside of Premiere Pro, so you don't have to go to a different tool and then import them back in. So now I have this piece that was all in Spanish, and I can just go to the text panel here to my captions and select Translate Captions. It automatically detects the language, and then I can select a target language, such as English, one of 27 here, as well as I can apply styles like I can with any other captions. So I can apply this and hit Translate. This does use cloud processing because it does the translation in the cloud and then downloads it back into your sequence. And for the first time, you can have multiple caption tracks on at the same time. So it's a lot easier to see both. You can edit in a different language, for example, or you can just output in 2 different languages if you have a multilingual audience. We've completely rewritten color management in Premiere Pro. We've completely rewritten the pipeline for color management and added a new wide gamut working color space. So now if you bring in nearly any camera, you can automatically detect that color space and we'll apply that transform to make it look good for you without any LUTs needed. You can still use LUTs, that's totally fine, but now we're also offering a way to do that transform for you. And then with the new wide gamut color space, you have access to color and latitude that you never had before. So let me show you what that looks like. So in the Lumetri settings here, you can go on a project to the preferences, you can turn on display color management, and then on the project, turn on color manage auto-detected log and raw media. What that means is it will automatically do the transform from log into a good looking image for you. So you can just click that and you don't have to worry about it again. The other big change that we have here is the color setup. This is where we have 6 simple presets because we want to make color management more accessible for video editors without compromising for people that want to dig in deep. We have Direct 709, which is how Premiere used to function as the default option, but also HLG and PQ for HDR, but also this wide gamut working color space with tone mapping, minimal tone mapping, or no tone mapping, depending on your preference. So with this wide gamut working color space, which is ACES CCT, a standard working color space, you now have a much bigger bucket. So when you shoot log or raw, and you have more stops of dynamic range than Rec 709 can display, you're making your corrections within that much bigger bucket instead of constraining it all down. So that means that before, when you were having when you had a setup where you were working only in 709, things were kind of muddy. When you go to do your setting, or when you were going to do your corrections and you adjust the exposure, the luminance, the highlights, the roll off, it just doesn't feel right. But when you go and change the settings into wide gamut, where it's not trimming off all of that additional color and fidelity, it looks a lot more naturalistic when you're adjusting all this. So it feels a lot more natural, and it also just looks much, much better. So we're really excited about completely rewriting the color pipeline in Premiere Pro to make it modern and just make all of your color look amazing. All of these features are currently available in Premiere Pro 25.2, which is currently shipping. So they came out of public beta, and we heard a lot of amazing feedback from the community that helped us build it. We're happy to bring this into your Premiere Pro today, so go update and try it out.